Hello and welcome to AMVTV episode number 1. Cue the music. Okay, episode 1, auspicious beginnings, humble beginnings. We're just beginning. And I want to welcome you and thank you for being here. And we're going to talk about all things video related. And just a word about how this got started. A friend of mine, Cliff Ravenscraft, some of you may know him, the podcast Answer Man, really said some interesting things on his recent audio podcast about the value or why he values audio podcasting over video podcasting. And you know what? I've been doing video podcasting for my clients for about 2 years now, and they're absolutely crushing it. Bernadette Doyle, David Fry, Kerry Wilkerson, Dan Scott, folks that have a direct web TV show, a video blog, and are absolutely using it to build their audience share. Now, before I go any further, I want to just say a word about Cliff. Cliff and I are buddies, so I'm going to bust on Cliff, but know that I know, like, and trust Cliff implicitly, and I've learned a lot from him. However, let's take a look at what Cliff said about some audio things. I got some notes over here. If you go to Podcast Answer Man, I want you to take a listen to his website. He's got a great podcast. And if you're into that kind of thing, go ahead and subscribe and listen to some of his shows. Now, in episode 180, Cliff mentions that he prefers audio over video. He even points to the Barefoot Executive TV, barefootexecutive.tv that I produced. And he says, Kerry's crushing it. It's a high quality podcast, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But then he goes on to say that he still prefers audio because of the initial outlay, the expense that's involved with producing a quote-unquote high-quality podcast or high-quality video show. Now, look at me. This is not a high-quality podcast. It's information. It's what's here going out to you there, and it does not have to be expensive. Now, it can be. But people are going to listen to your broadcast, they're going to listen to your podcast, they're going to watch your video based on two things. Number one, why should they be listening to you? In other words, what do you have to offer that they should pay attention to? And number two, the great content that you're giving them. Now, Cliff's podcast is absolutely off the charts in both respects. Cliff is a well-renowned audio podcaster, has a bunch of great shows, and the information that he gives out is indeed off the hook. But you don't need to spend a lot of money to do that. I am doing this with a webcam, one light, and a built-in microphone on my laptop. Now, I'm not going to guarantee that I'm always going to do this, but I want to start here and show you exactly what it takes to have a great video podcast as we grow our video podcast. We'll add a fancy graphic. I'll show you how to do that. We'll add fancy music intro. I'll show you how to do that. I'll make sure my lights on my laptop stays on. We'll show you how to do that. We'll show you all the good things that you need to know to have a great direct-to-web TV show, moi, as the example. And I'll actually show you some of my clients' work as well, just so you can see how they're leveraging the power of video technology and video marketing to grow their audience and to build their audience share. Now, Cliff cites in his episode 180 a couple of things that I wanted to touch on, and he cites a Department of Transportation report for an audio podcast. Cliff, you're going to pull that out? All right. So he says the report shows that an average commute to work was 26 minutes. Great. Consider the people who work out of the gym or work out or jog daily. Great. Another large audience there, Cliff. Great. What do people do when they're at work all day? Many have a job that allows them to listen to audio. Great. Audio is a more intimate. Okay, let's stop there. Cliff citing the audience. Okay, how many of those people are listening to podcasts? Great. And granted that audience share is huge and large, but if you want to go that route, why don't we talk about how many people watch video on the web? If you're going to take an audience, Cliff, let's make it an audience that's relevant. And if we're going to make an audience that's relevant, let's say, what slice of that audience can we garner? The percentage of people watching TV is abandoning ship, and they're actually watching more video now on the website. Hulu, YouTube loops, YouTube loads a day's worth, 24 hours worth of video every single minute, okay? So it's a huge audience share that's actually involved in video. So I'm going to scratch that comment. Now, Cliff also says that audio is more intimate and personal. It feels like the host is speaking to me. Hello, Cliff. It doesn't get any more intimate and personal than this, than video. Then you can see my emotions. You can see what I'm about. You can get to know, like, and trust me. I can pull up graphics. I can show you my screen. I'm not going to do any of that right now, but you can. And this type of interaction is really what it's all about. And Cliff goes on to say, video seems to beg for my attention. Yes, it does. Have you ever watched a teenager sit in front of a TV? Have you ever watched an adult sit in front of the TV? Most adults, me included, can't do anything else when there's something video interactive, because it does. It grabs a hold of my eyeballs. It demands my attention. It wants and asks and begs me to pay attention to it. If I'm not paying attention, it's background noise. Hello. Okay, let's just talk briefly about the length. Now, I have always promoted short, sweet videos. And to get a point across, to get a succinct message across, that's the best way to go. Now, if you're a windbag and you have a lot to talk about and you want to cram something in an hour-long show, great. Audio probably is your best bet, Cliff. So what I'm saying to you is keep it short, keep it sweet, deliver great content, and make it apropos to your audience so that they can digest it, they can come, they can see what you're talking about, you can interact with them intimately, and the rest is history. So Cliff wraps up his quote-unquote study report with, he says, I don't buy the idea that just listening to the audio of a video podcast. I don't either. I don't either. If you're going to have a podcast, a video podcast, give them something to look at. I will give you something to look at next time. This time, I don't. It's just moi. Okay? But here we go. Going on with the Cliff Ravenscraft audio versus video smackdown that I'm giving him. In episode 183, Cliff uses Leo Laporte to kind of shore up his argument. And the reality is that Leo does more in that episode to boost the thought of a video podcast. You know, TWIT, video would not even be, that show would not even be around had it not been for the video portion, my humble opinion. And Leo Laporte whines a bit about, you know, his audience was only growing by 1%. Well, hello, 250,000 share is not bad. Growing that 1% is not bad, Leo. I'll take that any day of the week. So, this is our inaugural show. I am for video. Cliff is for audio. Cliff's got a way head start. I think he's up to show 184, something, I don't know. He's way up there. I'm at show number uno. And so cast your vote by subscribing to the channel. Cast your vote by following us on the iTunes feed. As soon as I get that set up, I'll show you exactly how to do all that. And join me, Perry Lawrence, Mr. Video from AskMrVideo.com. Thank you so much for checking out AskMrVideo.tv, where we answer all your video-related questions. I'm Perry Lawrence. Until next episode, thanks for stopping by. How do I turn this crazy thing off, Jane?